unless we want to.
No.
Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. The link's on the right-hand side. We're going to talk about Pillage, whatever else is associated with it, and anything else that you guys want to talk about. Again, the link's on the right-hand side. So let's say hello to everybody. This is Hefe and Lady Cat.
Hello.
And Kenny.
Hello, hello.
And Derpy.
I got nothing today.
Yes, you scallywags. And KB.
Hello.
Hello. And TSM. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Okay.
Pretty good. Pretty good. And yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Another week over. Much like the last one. Much like the last one.
Okay. Work's not interfering with your Battle Pirates prowess at this point?
It has for the last couple of days, but things have calmed back down again, so it's good.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and take care of a little bit of the housekeeping. We'll skip the bug fixes. Let's just go to the calendar. All right, we have Pillage going on right now, which I assume is going to be a big portion of the conversation, even though it's the same as last time. The June raid, Tribunal is next week, and keep on saving your tokens, as we've been saying for a couple of weeks. The Design Diary, the Saw Factory, appears it's going to be a little bit delayed. Originally, it was going to be 10/25 the following week. And then the Beach Party Assault, which I think is going to be filled with random chests filled with pineapples, as we've been informed on the briefing.
And some coconuts thrown in.
Mm-hmm. So, and let's one more click, just so everybody is aware of what ships to be to keep open. As far so you don't spend put a 9-day upgrade in for a ship and then realize that you needed it. So again, next week you need the Zealots and then the Mutineers the following week for the VXP, and then we have our Skirmish TLC. And again, I won't go through this again. This is how I think the release of the Freedom Fist is going to go. This week you're able to get 10 in Pillage. Next week I assume you can get another 10, and then on 6/23 that week I assume another 10, and then another 10 in Pillage. We have not seen how many weapons the Mutineer can handle, but that's my assumption that we will get 40 of this limited weapon. So, thoughts, anybody?
Busy summer.
Yeah. So we'll have Pillage during the 4th of July, And TSM, how are you celebrating the 4th of July?
A cup of tea?
Okay.
Into the harbor, or?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, okay.
A nice cup of tea, because we've got it all ourselves.
Okay.
You coffee drinkers over there.
I don't know. At some point, I don't know if it's. I don't know. I've switched to tea over the last 2 years. I don't know what's going on. Something in my taste buds, or I just stopped. I don't know if it was the coffee I was drinking, but I just stopped liking coffee about 2 years ago and switched over to black tea. I don't know what happened to me.
We're going to send them to you, TSM.
It's colonialism coming back in.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Oh dear.
So
yeah, quickly. So the Mutineer hull then. Okay, it looks forsaken. It's certainly not anything. I mean, okay, yeah, great. It's skirmish hull, but it looks forsaken tech, doesn't it? Based off the print. Do you agree? Or was it Legion?
The picture? Or
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it looks forsaken, doesn't it?
Fast forward to so everybody is on the same page. Fast forward to slide 5.
As my crazy mindset, you mean? that
Well,
looks
I just
forsaken to
wanna
me.
So what are those things sticking up?
Oh, go faster, wings.
Yeah, it's your radio towers.
Yeah, cell phone. They got a lot of cell phone towers going on, as far as I can tell.
Is that Hawaii?
Yeah, well, it
is it?
says
Whatever.
Forsaken Mutiny, so it's probably got to be Forsaken, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
Well, the whole America freedom vibe gives me Forsaken vibes.
Reading is overrated, isn't it, TSM?
I can't see that, mate. It's too small.
Okay.
Let me get my glasses. Hang on.
Okay.
I can read Mutineer. So it does look.
Look at that.
Hey,
You guessed right.
look at that! Look, it's like it's a premonition or something.
Yeah, we could debate this one for hours. This may be a 2.5-hour show. Once we get over, is the Mutineer forsaken? We'll see. We'll
Candy,
fight
you
this
just
one to the
spoiled
death.
the fun. Looks like an Apollo on steroids. It does look like Apollo, like it's on roids, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Or it's for old people. It's got outriggers, or for kids that have never learned to drive yet. I'm not sure.
A little bit of Transformer vibe too.
Oh dear.
But
Okay, I need better glasses.
It still doesn't look seaworthy.
No, it looks overweight for the size of the hull. Actually,
Yeah. Like it looks like the front half would be underwater because the back half appears to be elevated. I don't know. It doesn't
think
look
that-
like it would
no,
float
the-
in the water.
Back half is too heavy. It would just be a little point sticking out of the water like a shark fin.
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe they're breathing tubes at the back. Then maybe that's what they are.
Could
Well,
be.
it is. I mean, but maybe this is skirmish, right?
Yeah, plot twist. We have a submarine now,
Yeah, yes, submarine, but we also have Gatling guns.
so
Yeah.
it only fires when surfaced. That would be horrible.
No. Don't
Never
don't
again.
tempt
Oh,
them.
yeah, TFC, or the TFC is going to have to bring back Liam for this one. It sounds like.
Frogging
You'd have
subs
kittens.
like Jesus walking on water.
Well, tell them we can get a free sub of Praetorians.
Maybe it's for inverted battles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey.
So,
So it's forsaken. Thanks for that.
yeah, okay.
Go back to where you were. We'll start again.
Okay. We're going to start a new show. It'll start in the next 15 minutes.
I'm just going to mute my mic.
Okay.
No.
All right. Let's go back. One, I think, is BP next week. There we go. Things I already teased as far as the at the bottom that the Saw Factory release is going to be slightly delayed. It was originally scheduled for 10/25. We're going to have Titan Rising, which is a mega one, and a toll for the Ferryman, which is allows you to use Assault, but it gives you tech and tokens associated with the Carnage and the Gorgon. Am I correct on that one, Drippy?
Say again.
It gives the toll for the Ferryman gives you it's an assault. You use assault ships to get technology and tokens related to the Gorgon and Carnage defenders.
One moment.
Okay, so
I'm glad Kix told us there'll be a delay. I'm rather than I'm not. Go ahead, Derby.
Yeah, Heavy, you're right. It's Defenders.
yeah. Okay, just making sure. No, I like the fact that they're upfront with us, so people aren't planning for it, and then I'm not sure what they're going to do to plan for it, but it's nice to have the information to be topical and up to date.
Yep, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it's same stuff we talked about on Wednesday. Liberty Belt, Impact Overdrive, T9 Limited Specials, and I think there's a name change there. Was it Impact Overdrive?
I don't remember it being that. I think it was something
It
else.
was something a little bit more. I thought we made fun of the whole thing.
You have it it's on a slide.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. No, it's on. I think the next slide. Yeah, it used to be called the justice system. Slide 5, the same slide we were just looking at.
Hey, is that hull forsaken? It looks forsaken.
Apparently, the justice system is forsaken.
Let me get on Discord and ask whoever's available to confirm that.
If you could, that'd be great.
Yeah. We're in touch with the community at this point. So it appears to have been changed from the justice system to impact overdrive. Probably considering what's going on in the U.S., this is probably a good move. But I'm assuming that's what has happened. So, anybody else have any opinions as far as why they changed it from the justice system to impact overdrive? Typo or trying to be in touch with what's going on?
Probably trying to be in touch with what's going on. That's appreciated, although, liberty and justice kind of went together. So
Yeah.
I wasn't offended by it before, but maybe somebody was. So
It's no freedom fist, is it? So
I think it's fairly clear Kickside doesn't want to offend or make any sort of political statement, so we should probably just leave it as that.
And
yeah. No, I was just
touchy Americans. You touchy Americans.
Yes.
Wow.
I will pour your tea in the harbor.
Too late. That happened years ago. Move on.
Yeah.
Come over here and have some tea, TSM.
Yeah. The EPA is still cleaning it up as a Superfund site at this point in time. So
we invite you to America anytime you want. You can stay at Huffy's house. Drink tea with him.
Mm-hmm.
I want more than tea if I come into Hefe's house.
He's got more than tea.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard the evidence.
Hey, Brian, how are you doing? Are you going to start singing for us? Was that just a warm up?
No, that was a quiet, wordless scream because I don't want my coworkers to come in and check on me and see if I'm okay.
I see. Okay.
So actually scare people.
Okay. I guess we've had enough for the sort of preamble, unless, Brian, you're a recent ad. Do you want to go to slide 5 for me, Lady Cat?
Why, sure.
Okay, Brian. What is your expert opinion on the mutineer?
No,
Do you think it's forsaken?
Do I think it's forsaken?
Yeah, you've been playing the game for years. Do you think that's a forsaken hull, or it doesn't look Drac, does it?
Okay, first of all, that's a penis. Second of all,
what?
You're doing this. You're doing this on your phone, right? So you probably can't actually read that it says "Forsaken Mutineer."
There you go. You see.
There you go.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. So the sharp edges and corners.
I didn't see that.
No, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is I am a member of the Battle Pirates community, and these are my contributions. Okay, it has a lot of sharp angles and short edges. That doesn't really look forsaken to me. That looks more like a Reaver or a Legion would. Maybe a Reaver if you took away the orange color scheme.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I just read where it says Forsaken Mutineer and just assume it's Forsaken. But, everybody can have their own opinion. And, maybe Kickside is going to take a little feedback from this show. And maybe, I don't think they're going to go as far as Reaver. Doesn't look Reaver to me at all. No flames. It's not called Hell something. So, but.
Well, yeah, I did say it doesn't have the orange color scheme and such. But just looking at the lines, like when I think of a Forsaken ship, I think of it as being very like
boxy?
Smooth. Pardon?
Boxy, a little boxy?
Could be.
Relatively boxy to the other ones.
Relatively boxy, or just like simple, smooth curves, not like very tight curves, but just curves with a long radius. When I see something that looks this sharp and many lined, I mean, maybe I could see it as direct, but I really see it more as like, I hate to say it, but I see it more as edgy. And when I think of edgy, I think of Reaver and maybe Legion, but Legion is more of just like, we scrap this. Well, Reaver's also, we scrap this together. Here we go.
Well, Brian, it's Forsaken.
Yes, I know.
And it says it right there. Yeah. So,
how did you not get that right, Brian? Come on. Your years of experience.
I was asked what it looked like, not what it was.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, now that we've, I think, given our all, so trying to figure out which hall this is as far as what faction. Even though I don't think actually, even though the actual hall itself doesn't. Besides a couple of crews that do apply to Forsaken and Draconian, this one will be impacted by the Silver Salty, while Legion would not. So I guess that's the big takeaway, that you're going to get 15% reload and turn speed if you use the Silver Salty on the Forsaken.
Start rolling.
If you can get a Silver Salty, they're not easy.
Well, no. Even the regular Salty will give you the 15 and 15. So.
There's one thing I can say for this skin. This skin is actually going to get some really, when it comes to getting skins, the shape of the flat panels, it's actually going to show up really well. So I see some good skins coming for this one.
Okay.
I'm waiting for Tiger Skin.
Yep. Yep. Now that we've had the skin preview. And with the name, the Mutineer, I mean, it's, we'll understand much more when your ship doesn't respond to your mouse clicks, because it's the Mutineer, right? They're they've already mutinied on you, and so there's a reason that they're going to stop there and just look silly.
It's going to become Reaver or Legion when it does its mutiny.
Mm-hmm.
You saw this coming. You named it as such. You did this to yourself.
Yep.
A new faction. This 7th.
A complete new faction. Named after me, of course.
Well, what if the faction
The Derp faction.
got together?
That's what you want to be known for, the Derp faction?
What if the factions got together and had children and you started having combined factions?
But that's sort of the Reaver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reaver is sort of combining all the other factions into, at least into the halls. So, and you don't want to go out partying with the Reavers. You're not going to be a good night. So, or the Scorch, those are the ones you want to watch out with, party with, because, you don't want to get the bends or whatnot going underwater with the Scourge. As far as if you drink at a couple 100 feet below the water and then you go back up, it's just the bends times 1,000 if you're drinking down with those guys and with what they drink.
The Reaver parties have the best stories, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's they're a little bit, they hang out with the Mad Max crew. So
good way to kill 20 minutes.
yeah. TSM was just jumping in there with this content that I didn't even foresee as far as content for the show. TSM just boom. Yeah, look at that. That's
TSM, you'll have to come back again.
It's just so British of me as well.
Yeah. So I guess we can skip ahead and go to Pillage. I'm not really sure how much is there to talk about Pillage.
I have
this
something
is
to
the same
say.
same targets we've seen last month.
I can say
guess-
something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you know how TSM always says time is money. Well, I decided to buy the X1 upgrades, and I did. And my time in the 128s was cut in half. So
Good on
went
you.
from U3, mostly U3s and a U2, and went to X1, and it did cut my time in half overall.
Okay, so what was your beginning time and your ending time?
My ending time was 25 minutes, and I know my beginning time was close to an hour. I do not have a video before or after, so I can just give you rough ideas, but roughly it cut my time in half.
Okay, that's okay because I'm
Yeah, I know you drive better than me.
no, I set waypoints. I set waypoints the whole way. That's why I'm a little bit curious because your X1 times are very similar to my 4U3 and a U2 time. Because
Well,
we could have a like I think Kenny
no
learned a lot.
gauntlets. No
Kenny learned a lot.
gauntlets tonight.
No. I was speaking more to
My
more of a build review. No, because there's no
Yeah.
driving. It's just you set the waypoints and then you walk away, and that's
Yeah,
what
I
I
can
do.
do that. You know what I don't know? What I don't know for sure, and you can help me and answer it for everybody. I bring a flag or one of my other ships ahead of the others. I'm not quite sure how far ahead it's supposed to be. So,
Yeah.
where exactly, how far is the flag supposed to be away from your back ships when you're driving the Praetorians?
Okay. If I think it's a tricky answer, but we can. Anybody else want to take this one?
I've done various things. I've done between like 30 range still in the hole to like almost my whole weapon range. I think when I do my whole weapon range, I get a little bit more damage on the flag, but the back four are always instant versus closer. The flag repairs a little bit lower, but the back four are sometimes 7 minutes each.
Well, the last time I did it, I had pretty even damage across all of them. So does that mean I'm too close?
Yeah, it sounds like. Well, it really depends on what you're going for. If you are going for the quickest time to break it down in your dock and repair it and then send it back out, that's one thing. If you're looking for the lowest repair time, it really depends on what your strategy is as far as how many you want to hit before you bring it back to the dock. I guess
Right.
is my point.
Yeah, my typical driving style, because I work full time and I've struggled to find time to fit all this in, is to play until I die and then repair, either while I'm sleeping or while I'm working.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah.
That's all I can do. I used to be okay with stopping and instant repairing or waiting in the base. I don't have time for that. So I play until I die and then repair. That's my style.
Okay.
So
if you
my
want,
goal is to last as long as possible.
okay.
Always the goal.
I think if you want to play for like 2 hours, it really doesn't matter as long as you're swapping out what your lead ship is every time. I would probably put it right at the upper just at the end of the green ring, the 50
Right.
ring that gives you survival to your lead ship,
Right. So I put
and
it,
then just swap out ships, and because you bought the offer, you also have the free Praetorians that are at X1 and have all of the buffs associated with it in regards to survival. So you could play for hours and not repair your ships hitting 128 by doing that.
You can do roughly about 16, and then go back in for a fix. Roughly, I think I got 302 hits right through to dead. I got 380.
awesome.
Okay, so
But
Not bad.
16 with using at X1 using all 9 Praetorians.
No. Just one set of Praetorians. I go through.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we have the ability. If you bought the offer, you now have 9 Praetorians at X1, and so therefore, that's what I'm saying. You could go on for a couple of hours.
Yeah, no, I get that, but obviously Lady Cat drives her single fleet till Index and then puts it away and then it's fixed until she comes back on, which is exactly what I do. I start Pillage late at night. I go on until the crew's gone well past its time to be dead because it only lasts 40 minutes. The building crew is what the one I use, building damage crew, and then I just keep going, rotating as you've said. Bringing the lead ship forward, whichever one I want to rotate, so the one that's got the least amount of damage done on it. Take that out to the 50 ring, and then just basically pull them right through, and then just use the 6 waypoints. As soon as I set the waypoints, I go out, look for the next target already, and that was 160 something. Okay, basically it was what a good reasonable amount of targets, I think, to be honest.
Awesome. I've only been able to. I've only had time to do a few targets, so hopefully tomorrow. I mean Sunday when I'm off work, I can do my raid day. So awesome. Thanks, TSM. And yeah, I think that my flag's too close still. It needs to come out some more.
Okay. Hey, Bulldog, how you doing?
Good. Just trying to figure it out. I had everybody talking on top of everybody until it was explained to me I had to mute the other one.
Oh yeah. You didn't have your tubes muted, so that's that can cause some headaches.
Yeah. With the pillage, I'm finding that it's easily done. Even the people who are given the free fleets for the riots, they can still do it. If they save their tokens, I mean, Kixar gave us a ton of tokens. Bedorians, they're all simply upgraded. So.
Simply upgraded, meaning...
do the campaigns. There's plenty of tokens that keep coming through the campaigns. They show up in the raids, bounty, and everything else. I keep snagging everything I can. I managed to get everything up to U3.
Good job. I didn't even get that much done.
Well, I'm home alone most of the time. The wife has been sick and in that hospital, so I've got a ton of time to play.
Sorry to hear.
And
you don't look anything like Macaulay Culkin.
Well,
Brian looks way more like a Home Alone candidate than you do.
I see the names on it. But no, this first time logging in. I try to catch it all the time, but it's not always possible.
I'm glad to have you.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, I'm an officer in Refu, and I'm finding we're having a hard time keeping the players right now because the bases aren't holding up. We find a build. Somebody showed up with 3 of those new hulls, came in and just walked through everything we had. The people are getting really disgusted fast.
With the hell, what's it called?
Oh, yeah, it's the new one.
Hellswarm?
Yes,
Hellswarm. Yeah.
I mean,
I was finally fighting Warhounds, and now this. You just got to, you get your 36-hour bubble and keep on.
Oh, we do. But we've got. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That is where the money is coming from, though. On the other side, the people that build these ships so quickly and can refit them, they probably have some Conqueror tokens, but for the most part, they spend to go out and have that experience. And as soon as a new hull is dropped, I'm sure Kix knows there's a certain percent of players that are going to get it and build it like that.
Yeah,
and that's where they get it.
I agree. We got a couple of players that dump 500-600 a week in here, and they're talking about quitting because it's beyond them. They instant build everything. So it's difficult. I'm hoping Kix find a happy medium somewhere along the line here.
It's been Conqueror heavy lately. It's attacker heavy, I guess you'd say. The attackers have had the advantage to most players. There's good players that know how to keep them out, but there's a lot of us PvE players that don't know all those tricks, although we're learning slowly. So it's a lot of trial and error, but I agree, it's demoralizing. I quit working on my base for 6 months. I kind of gave up, but I care again, so I'm trying a lot harder now.
Yeah, it's a never-ending story. Ninja Penguin, I seen your post there. You've always had a great base, even when I was in the Alliance with you. Nobody could ever get. He's like super sub man. Yeah, it's a continuous uptick. You change your base this week. I got people that are continuously just working on base layout. So we had an engineer that was working with us for one time. He just walked away. He couldn't take no more.
Well, there's people keeping other people out, so it's being done. I just
Oh, it is. I personally copied. Go ahead.
I was saying, in my opinion, it's PvP is fairly balanced with the exception of the Helldiver UAV.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that range of 10 is a.
A new ship shoots over the mountains too, which is something we didn't expect.
Yeah, I mean, I've got that fleet, that exact fleet. And I've been working with a couple of people in the sector next to me actually about what we can do, and we've managed to alleviate the problem, put it that way, by changing our base designs. And I have been dissecting even the hits that I've done. I've done a couple of videos on it and that sort of stuff, and I made it pretty obvious that I've got into most bases, but not all bases, and some people have actually designed their base where it's still holding off the other PvP ships, but actually you can't now chain to the center of their base without coming into their channel. And if you're coming into their channel, by God, you're going to get hurt very quickly. So it's just different concepts. It is doable, but obviously there are so many, as Ren has said before, with all the little intrinsic adjustments that you can make in base design is the hardest thing in the game. Building the fleets is the easy bit. Defending against them is the hardest thing, because you only got to put a turret half a tile in one direction too far, and it's good night. You're over. Move that turret half a tile back the other way, and all of a sudden you've just stopped them for. But that could take 50 or 60 different maneuvers to decide that actually that is the one to move. And that you need an engineering mind, engineering background, that sort of stuff. And people that aren't that way inclined will always struggle. Of course they will. But that's the intrinsic nature of the game. The PvP players love that, absolutely love it. And I love base defense more than base hitting. I build the fleets, go and play with them, but I do that because then that helps me think what I need to do with my base as well. Because if I'm attacking somebody, I think I got in there, I'm going to make sure, darn sure, that someone's not doing that to me.
And that's one of the biggest problems that PvE players have. We're not building the ships. We're not hitting bases. We don't get to see these ships in action. So we don't get to learn what these fleets really can do until they hit our base. And even then, it's hard for us to see what's on that ship that made it so special. What were those specials that were on there? What was the guns or the engines, or what did you use to make that ship do what it did? We can't see that.
Yeah, I mean, I posted a video up, and I even put the exact build I'm using, because I don't care. It doesn't bother me,
Look for that.
Yeah, literally, I only posted it up. Well, no, it's been up there a few days, but I actually only made it public today, sort of stuff, And I actually put the build code in there for the full ship, so people understand what it is I've done and that sort of stuff,
That's very helpful.
Well, because it doesn't really bother me, because it's already out there. There's lots of videos. I delayed mine for a while and that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, people need to know what it is so they can defend against it. So, and it can be stopped. It can be stopped. Even 3 of them, which I've got. I didn't get in all the bases. Those individuals that did certain things at the front of their bases, to alleviate that problem.
Did they get rid of buildings? Did they delete all those buildings?
They have definitely clustered things together, put it that way, and then created kill zones, which is really, really important in this circumstance. It's not going to stop everybody, and some people will still get in because the top players are goddamn savvy at hitting, and so they should be. They're the top players, so you're not going to stop everybody.
And that's okay. We just don't want to be hit every 36 hours. And, we don't have, it takes less time now to repair docks, and fortunately less time to repair your launch pad, but it's getting all our res stolen,
Yeah, so I mean, that's the catch-22. That is one point, actually, that, they could almost, because it takes so much to build so much, and now you lose an awful lot because they stack up so much. Maybe they ought to consider looking at the amount gets taken from a base per hit, because it's almost half your complete content now in one go.
Exactly. And we used to have it special. It was a research special that let you hold back a tiny bit of your res, so that
like 2 million.
Yeah.
2 or 4 million, wasn't it? Yeah.
Nothing now, but maybe
So
they
it
could
doesn't
look
mean
at-
anything. Yeah.
maybe they can bring something like that back so that we can do something to lock down enough resources so that we
Yeah,
can.
it cost you a
build.
special slot. Yeah, it cost you a special slot, didn't it? But at least then you had enough resources to fix your guard back up again. Because sometimes if you got hit multiple times, I mean, okay, we're only hitting 3 times now per player, but if you are getting hit multiple times, then you can be drained completely.
Exactly.
And I might have in my old days when I was a PvP player, a big one, I might have done that on purpose.
And if I recall, I could be wrong because I haven't really been hitting, but if they hit your base, even if they lose, don't they still get your res? You might not get a bubble, you might get to repair, but don't they still get
Let me
res?
have a look because I visited a few
Maybe.
people the other day.
I think if they get your warehouses, they get them. I think that you were talking about something that kept your resources. Maybe if you had a special or something, but it could only be like equip 1. Maybe it's something that you would put on your outpost. Something that the attacker gets half of the resources they would normally get from their base hits. Even if they win and get 500 million, 250. If they only get 100 million, they get 50 million. Because I mean, resources, they can probably just go hit FM targets, and those are plentiful. I gotta drop. You guys have fun. Bye.
See
All right,
ya.
take it easy.
Brian. Remember to set the trap for those. Okay. So, yeah.
Forsaken missions up and running.
I went back to the Home Alone reference, but yeah, okay.
The traps, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
So I just logged in then, Heffy, and a really random thing just come up. It just said gantry complete.
Yeah,
Go
that
to gantry. Why does that just come up?
happens. It's one of those bugs.
I'm assuming they're doing some sort of hot fix that reset, because you also run into that thing where if you hit on base planner at certain times, it'll show you a video like you've never used base planner before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming it's all related and there's some sort of hot fix that resets things. But again, I don't know the reasoning behind it.
So the arena overview video link has just come up as well.
Yeah.
Because that's really important, isn't it? Let's go to the arena.
Yeah. There's
And Derpy's got some good bids on some base hits as well.
Yeah. I had a good look at those actually.
I try to watch the vids. I just don't have time. I can't. There's no time.
So if you lose, you don't take any res
Okay.
in the base hit at the moment, all right? Because I've actually been out and messing around, dumping off medals so I can go and steal other people's to make them really annoyed with me. So I've been medal dumping, and when you medal dump, you don't get, well, when you lose, because that's the same thing, you don't get any res at all. You only get res for winning, according to this.
Well, unless you get res if you hit a warehouse and you didn't hit any warehouse.
But that takes you over the 5%, which is classed as a loss then, isn't it? So.
No, but you have to get all the buildings to get a loss.
Somebody watching must be knowing that I'm online as well because they're just hitting my base now.
Oh, damn. You want to go live?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Yeah, do you know why? Well, I don't know. It's on the same
go live.
screen, actually. That'd be a bit difficult. It's on the same. Oh, he's just left. Oh, all right then.
Oh.
You'd probably find it someone like Venom or someone like that just to be an annoying ass.
All right, folks, I got to pop out of here. It was awful good talking with you.
Good to have
all right.
you. See
Later,
ya.
Bulldog. Thanks for showing up.
You want to show TSM getting hit?
He's got to share it first.
Yeah, but it's on the same screen as the.
Oh,
might
it's
not be
okay.
the right thing.
That's all right.
I can try. Hang on. Let's see. I'd have to share the same screen. Yeah, I think I can do it. Is that sharing? I don't know if it is.
Yep, there it is. Okay.
Come on, Derpy, talk us through it, Derpy. Come on.
Okay, we have a bunch of ship. We have some of the new hell swarms in the tactical radiation dampener cloud. They are currently being hit by some cryo launchers from your Houndmaster, which aren't dealing damage but are debuffing the enemy hull. You also have the polonium thrower shooting over there, shooting over the walls, which is reducing the reload speed of those holes. Looks like he's about 25% damaged here. And he's training off onto several turrets on the water here, and then onto your gatekeeper and portals. Many strips are still up here, and it looks like he's still going to be sitting in your fire fields for quite a while here. All of the 8 key buildings are still up, but he is doing some nice work on some of those turrets.
I think he's screwed.
It looks like that. Looks like he's not going anywhere.
He's sitting there too long.
The gatekeeper is too powerful. It's against this ship. It's not working against this ship. The gatekeeper heal is outperforming. I don't think that's a UAV build. What do you think, TSM? Is that a UAV build damage?
No, because he's still firing the new mort, which is actually his undoing. And now he's going to bring in his trenchers, bless him. Which
ballistic trenchers are pretty powerful in this meta, but I'm not sure he has enough to get through 1 or 2 gatekeepers and 3 portals. Hellswarms are down. 1 portal's down. He is sitting in the mongoose range.
Yeah,
he's left.
And he retreated.
There we go. Okay. I was hoping it was a full UAV build because I haven't actually been smashed by a set of that since I made a couple of changes. But there we go. So conceptual wise, okay. Well, there you go. Whatever. Okay, cheers for that. But that's the sort of stuff I've done. It's not perfect, but and it still does get beaten, but it's better. So can't get sniped. They have to come in. If they're coming in the top, yeah, great, cluster up there. And, I've got some stuff that I can't fit in. So I've had to forego and put up with the fact that some of my crucial stuff does get taken out. So they rim your base and that sort of stuff with obviously the other ships that aren't the Mort ones. But
okay, you put the dock on the outside. You can hide the dock right there in that little cubby hole. I know you can't see where but you know what I'm talking about. Next to your mountains.
I'm a corner, mate. I don't care.
Okay, yeah.
It's only a couple of coins. I don't care. I would just corner it straight back and go and smash them, so I don't care.
Okay, all right. I'm just throwing that out. Good. And I see you have your great hall separated from the rest, just to force them to drive.
They're going to do
but
Yeah, the less experienced would have to drive all the way around and then concentrate on actually doing that, and then hopefully make a keyboard error on their driving and then mess up putting their holes in the wrong places. So it's more to be annoying than anything else. But obviously, it's also part of the fact that I don't have room to get everything in the middle island and keep it protected. So it's a catch-22. It's not perfect, and yeah, people have got through, but I go for a percentage, and I'm content with the percentage at the moment. So that's
Okay.
We are where we are. Anyway, it works. There we go.
What do you think most of us really need? Do we need more land tiles? Do we need more room? Do we need more base power?
Personally, do you know what? I actually think if you've got the and I don't want to sound derogatory to anybody, but if you've got the understanding of the mechanics of it, we're pretty balanced at the moment. And that's probably a really unpleasant thing for people to hear, but it is true.
No, I believe that's never been as much of a problem as it has been since they broke us up into PvE and PvP, is that now those of us that used to do both tend to do just one, and we've lost that ability.
I mean, the super powerful UAV fleet, there are people that have taken the morts off and then up the power of its base damage. It's not UAV damage, and it's not. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they're radioactive UAVs." Who cares what UAVs are? It's building damage is what you want to up, and that sort of stuff. Like I said, I've put the code to the flipping build that I'm using. In the video I did. But the point is, even if you would say, "Do you know what we want? We need more base power," but then that makes it too easy, doesn't it? Because you just max out everything. And then what are Kixie going to do? They're going to go up again. It's far better to be restrictive in some areas. And if you are restrictive, then you've got to play clever. I've got certain things in my base that I've got no extras on them whatsoever. Why? Because I can't spare the capability to power that up or give it more damage protection at the cost of something else. So you've got to yin and yang it and give some and take some, and so it takes thought. You can't just go, right, I'm maxing that out and I'm maxing that out and I'm maxing that out. Right, I've maxed everything out, so I must be perfect. And then you find you fail. Whereas actually they're using a mechanic to say, consider maxing this out, but don't consider putting anything on this one. There's some turrets in there that have got no specials on whatsoever, but they do have a slowdown effect, or they do have a firing effect, and they don't need specials because that's not what I'm after. I've got a harpoon in there. Hefe, why have I got a harpoon? What's the good thing about the harpoon?
I didn't know what the harpoon is. I didn't even know that there was a something called the harpoon. Is that the name?
Okay. Yeah, the harpoon. Yeah, which combat speed minus 30%.
So it's a slowdown.
That's a tier 3 turret.
Okay. Yeah. I was more, when I was looking at Jim's comment, I'm like, do you have any weapons on your, any weapons on your gates are useless pretty much? Is there a use to having any weapons or offensive specials on gates at this point?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're veiled. Maybe you've gone over this with the harpoon, but are you talking about the cryo-adder with some of this and basically saying only do things to help the special ability, not the damage or anything else? Is that what I was reading there or no?
Yeah. So fight against. So fight like for like. If you've got something that's, a lot of people putting radioactive turrets back in because of the effect that they have is area of effect damage. It doesn't need to be accuracy based, so you don't need to have accuracy specials because they're really heavy and that sort of stuff. So go for splash instead, because the smart player will bring in his 3, Hellswarms and he'll split them up slightly. So take advantage of the fact that he's going to split them up slightly, and to split them up, it takes more driving technique and more skill. Well, counter that by making the area of effect weapon more effective. So he's got to drive them even further apart, which takes more time, which means the UAV's on the target all the time. Every single UAV that misses, that's 10 chains gone, and it's all those sort of things. It's complex, of course it is, but it's evolved over the last 9 years to be a very complex game. It is very complex.
And we're trying to get good. We are.
But Ninja Pack can use gate weapons as spotters for the guard fleet, but doesn't the I forget the name of it at this point, but the OP weapon, doesn't that provide enough spotters for the Gorgon, even if the Gorgon's good or bad or whatnot at this point? But that provides you can target off of that.
You can, yeah. If that's what you're choosing to use, yeah, because the Gorgon works by obviously allowing it to retarget off the furthest out building or that's being attacked and it's alive and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, you can. And that radioactive turret top that you put on the OP is actually goddamn effective, and Hellswarms hate it. I've attacked a couple of bases and made a mistake, and that thing's been hitting my poor little Reaver ships, and actually taken probably a fifth of damage, put a fifth of damage on them. And I've taken to now making sure that one of my other ships that's in the fleet, it doesn't matter what it is actually positioned a certain position now, so that it actually takes the damage away from them while I'm trying to drive into the channel. So which is something I learned actually while we were doing the last bounty.
Okay.
So never stop learning as ever.
Yeah, I saw your video on bounty. It really helped me a lot on was it the 141s?
Yeah, the 142s, and then the 110 as well, which I think was
the one I couldn't do your damage-free 110. I tried.
No, but I mean, it's just that's why Derpy's the same. If we can help anybody, even if you just go, I never thought about that, and that's all that matters. I watch Ren's videos, Derpy's videos. I watch all the ones out there because no one's the ministry of really good ideas, and then you take away a little bit of everybody's. And the best thing about bounty is go and smash as many bases as you can because it's the event to do so, and just go, I like that idea, but I'm going to slightly adjust that, and I'm going to slightly adjust this, and I'm going to do this, and that sort of stuff, and don't just settle with what the other person's got, because It's almost like saying, go and borrow somebody else's golf clubs. Well, he might have got a slightly different weighted one to you, and it's maybe a 9-iron, but it's a different 9-iron because it doesn't fit your stance and your position, that sort of stuff. So you've got to find things that are right for you, not just mirror image what somebody else has got and then don't understand why it doesn't work.
Do you know what? What would really be helpful is if they did, how they did that free repair bases and free repair fleets, or gave you tokens. If they did that during Bounty, then guess what? We'd all play. and enjoy it. So let us get our 4-hour bubbles and be instant repaired so we can work on our base and let us go out and hit. I loved that free week, even though I didn't have an opportunity to use it much, but it gave me time to work on my base. It's the repair times involved when we're trying to do PvE. We can't all do it all. It's like we had to choose. Most of us chose PvE, which is why we're so bad at this PvP business.
Do you know what? I think that particular week, and I know it was about the massive change to PvP, and we're going a little bit off topic here, but I'm sure Derpy will back me up because I know he's agreed on the post that was posted up. It wasn't my post, but it's something I tried to promote on the TFC page and a couple of others. That I think that should be brought back periodically. Maybe not all the time. All the time, it'd be nice just to have a 10-minute dock repair. So you're out of the game maybe for 10 minutes, but not for 2 hours or 3 hours because no one's going to pay for that repair,
Right.
But if they could bring it back quarterly, or maybe, like you said, each bounty, it would bring so many people back into PvP. It really would, because you've got nothing to lose.
Right. And you have an opportunity to try things and learn, without waiting for a 36-hour bubble and being fearful to try again because you're going to lose so much. So.
And I spent money on fleets, PvP fleets, which I really wasn't interested in at all, simply because everything else after you bought the fleet was free. The entertainment was free, and it's entertainment that we're here for. Am I enjoying my time? It's not about anything else other than entertainment. And I was entertained because, and I didn't feel bad because the other person was just going, click, fix, thanks, I'm moving on now, and it didn't really impact them at all. And the only thing they lost was medals. I mean, who gives a monkeys about them apart from the mega alliances?
Yeah, and your brother was quite amused because he wanted them to nerf all of the things that you spent money on.
I know.
That's what he said on Discord.
I know he's a kid.
I found that amusing. So
we have chatted.
Okay,
see, now I'm more prepared to participate in a week like that, and that's why I did that meme that won the 3rd place, is because of that week, because that's what I kept seeing in comms. Oh, I just redid my base. Boom, everybody's on them.
I got hit 34 times in one day.
Yeah.
Weird flex, but okay, Lady Cat.
But that's people were having fun, and it was.
Sorry, Happy. Carry on, mate. Sorry.
Hit me. So.
Is anyone else?
That's an old bug. It may have come back. If you put your ships in your base planner with snap to grid on, not on. So if you turn snap to grid on when you're putting your ships in your base, this thing won't happen. Otherwise, if your things are too close to each other, they'll automatically spawn around the dock.
Yeah, this has been going on for a year or so. I don't know.
I would love to see it fixed, but I don't have any say over the matter.
No. In the current coming soon basket.
Yeah, that's true. So, I don't know. Is there any? I don't think while we've had the Pillage screen up there, we haven't really talked about Pillage that much. I mean, Callie, who's quite engaging with the show. I heard at one point that you were getting 5 minutes on the 133, and that I'm baffled by personally. I've seen people get 9 minutes. I've gotten 11 minutes, but 5 minutes. I don't know. I'm curious what your secret is there to get down to the 5 minutes. Unless, is there somebody? Am I stupid? Is 5 minutes obtainable on the 133?
I've seen it.
Not this call sign. I ordered the 133, so that's
Yeah.
I'm doing it while I'm at work sort of target.
How much damage do you get when you auto?
Yeah. I don't even look.
How many do you do before you stick it in repair?
I'd like to say 10, I guess.
That's
Round
pretty
about
good.
that. 8 to 10. Well, it's a guess, a pure guess, but 5 minutes and 9 seconds. Wow.
I
Yeah,
want to
that is my question. Like, what crew are you using, or contributing to the cause?
I can almost guarantee you I kind of know what's contributing to it. Your driving style is always to go orthogonal, right? You go around it and try and stay out of the red torpedo. But this driving style is drive over it, the red torpedo misses behind, and the tail guns are firing right away as soon as you pass through so the driving over and fast seems to be the secret.
Okay. Now that you've watched this, are you going to replicate this for us, Kenny?
No. I've never been able. You know what?
You've watched
I've
it.
never been able to duplicate it.
And
I have never been able to duplicate it.
I've just done a live
it's
piece hit. Come on.
It's a theory, but when I do it, I take more damage. So
yeah.
So it's not even necessarily what the secret is. I have no idea. All I know is it's consistent.
Have you compared builds?
Yeah, but
And
not enough differences. Not enough differences to make an explanation that I can think of.
Okay, so
I don't know what crew though.
I mean, if you put the Bullseye Brigade on, I can understand how that would give you that kind of thing. Also, because it should counter all the concussive torpedoes, and then you could probably get down to less than 5 minutes. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I can't explain it. I really can't.
I might have to try that.
I've tried to duplicate it, but I have not been able to.
I will probably die a horrible death and then say a lot of bad words. And Jeff Kenny is going to be one of those bad words.
Well, I can't. Yeah. I've said those bad words when I can't duplicate it. I will tell you that. I can't get it below about 20, or my best is still about 18 minutes, I think.
Wow,
If you're using a Bullseye Brigade crew, that's cheating.
So as is the Grease Monkeys.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're getting 5 minutes with one of those two crews, yeah, that's
no, those don't count. No timing with a Grease Monkey counts as a actual.
Well, or if you're getting 100% with your antis using, or DOS crews, Bullseye Brigade, those ones that have 100% accuracy with your antis, those don't count.
No, those aren't being used.
All right. Well, and she doesn't appear to want to tell us what the crew is, but yeah.
No, she's using, I think, Sea Serpents.
That's what I use. I mean, unless there's some weird version of Lucky Bastards. I'm assuming it's Lucky Bastards at this point in time.
Well, Callie, we'd love to have you post a video. And if you won't come on live, then create a video and let us show the video online.
So, I guess we'll... should we go to what the prizes are for the store? Or do we want to talk about the Praetorian? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the Praetorian. Go to slide number 9. because I know Derpy has done some work that I said I was going to do, and then Derpy did it beforehand in regards to the impact that at least the theoretical impact that the X1 upgrades would have on the Praetorians. And I know that Lady Cat, you've already gone there. And, Derpy, are you there? Okay.
I'm here, but what's your question?
Okay, you made some slides, and I haven't watched the YouTube show that you put together explaining the impact of the Praetorian X1 upgrades. As far as, because that was mostly in theory, correct, at that point in time?
No, you did an upgrade, didn't you?
I think he just upgraded his flag, right?
I upgraded only my flag, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the most important one based on looking.
And I found that doing that, comparing last week to this week, it saved on auto. The 141 dropped from an hour 36, or the 141 dropped from an hour 36 to an hour 20. The 136 dropped from 2 hours 6 minutes to 1 hour 25. Mm-hmm. And the 132 dropped from 213 to 136 using only the flag upgrade. Okay. And in terms of calculations just based off survival, it should save 33%. Or 30% is probably a better number.
For the flag or for the whole fleet?
For the whole fleet.
Okay, but the flag is, I mean, at least looking at the stats, is it's worth the extra time. It's providing, you get the same stuff to the original ship, and now you're adding it to 4 other ships. So it's you get way more bang for the buck for 30% more upgrade time.
Well, the flagship's definitely more worth it. If that's what you're asking, because it gives every single ship 10,000 survival versus just upgrading a regular one only gives that regular one 10,000 survival.
Yeah.
Also, on the X1 upgrades, there is a hidden speed boost. You get 20% combat speed boost that's not shown for some reason, which is making some people have issues. They're driving by turrets more quickly, so they're not killing them if they're doing the waypoint method. But it's not. I don't know why it isn't in the stat block, but you do get a 20% speed bonus too.
Is that from the flag, or if you did?
That's from the flag.
Okay, so each individual ship isn't gonna make that one ship go 20% faster. Like if you did a back ship, it's just in the flag for the whole fleet. Right?
It's disappeared.
Yeah.
So the aura effect is on the flag. It affects the whole fleet. So long as the flag's still alive, the whole fleet gets the boost.
Okay. I did the upgrade. I purchased it, so they were all done at once.
All right. Okay.
So I couldn't tell if there was a difference doing just one. I know. I was going to create a meme. But I didn't.
As in like you caved in.
No, well, forgive me for I have sinned.
Oh dear.
I don't have time. I can't wait. Hefe had said it was going to be like 2 months before you got time to upgrade.
Yeah, you never get to it.
I'll never get to it. So, what's
the difference in because your time is limited. Like you say, you're taking half the damage, which means you're doing double the targets, which means actually you're taking the time that you've just halved the time in the event, basically, by doing that.
And I'll be able to
months worth of time.
And I'll be able to get a lot more done in one go. So, providing I have time to do that in one go, I may not have time to kill it.
Just makes your experience in the time invested more enjoyable.
Exactly, and I don't mind spending coin. I'm just not I can't spend a lot. I have a very tight budget. and I'm limited. I got burned on those mana cores, so I'm very hesitant about spending up front now. But I felt this was a worthwhile investment over my time. I wish they didn't do the upgrades the way they did. I don't think it's fair to people that have time and not money. Because they're valuable as well. People that maybe aren't working or retired, they can do a lot with time that I can't do. So I hope they can find a balance with that between the time and the money, and maybe give us a way to earn upgrade tokens more often or something, because the upgrades are the new building token. I mean, you know what I mean? They've cut down building times, but now they've added upgrades, so they might as well have increased building times.
It's quite clever, isn't it?
Well, they basically have increased building times when you take the upgrades into account.
Exactly. So we all know that.
We're probably worse off than what we were with the old 60-day fleet type scenario. Because when you factor all the upgrades into it, well, you're probably at least looking at 40 days.
And that's a hard thing to maintain, whether you're coining or not. It's just difficult to maintain, and it takes a lot of the fun out. So I hope they find a balance with that.
In all honesty, at the very end of a raid cycle, which is like just happened now, we're going into the next raid cycle, and it's the Forsaken Hull. Okay, the mutant here. All right. You are already getting offers there to buy the complete set of riots now for X. Okay, so you could actually have completely missed out that whole cycle if you really wanted to, and just let it and just carry on with what you were using previously, because none of the chore targets out on the ground have really changed a great deal. You could completely miss that one out and focused on your FM fleet, which we all know the FM is the pinnacle of the game to make you progress.
Right.
You don't need to do bounty, not if you're just doing PvE and that sort of stuff. But if you do get in a position where you aren't up to speed on the FM, then that is the thing you must focus on. Now, you've just managed to jump several bounds ahead just by making a decision to invest.
Correct.
So that is giving you the opportunity now to diversify in other areas of the game and feel value from what you've just invested in.
Correct.
Plus, with the new FM target coming soon, well, that's going to give out more damage as well. So
every single one is, Have you clocked that as well? Every replacement target costs more. Every single. So the second that 141 disappears, which won't be far off, it'll be a 146 or a 143 or something or other. It's going to be considerably more damage.
And they keep adding stuff to the FM, more and more points. But I mean, if we had seen this a year ago, can you imagine the battle cry of the number of points that we need to get every week?
Well, the points don't. I never see it as a number of points. I always see it in time. The number of points don't mean anything. It's how much time you have to invest to get a result. It's a bit like the old days we used to say, "Oh yeah, it's 1 coin per million," or something like that. That's irrelevant. It's how much time do I have to invest in to get the end result? Either how many times does my fleet have to die, and I have to wait 12 hours, which is the average window, like Praetorian fixes and that sort of stuff, before I can then come back on again and get the end result. Now, if it's 12 hours, and in that 12 hours of fixed time, that is, you've achieved everything, and all you got to do is overnight fix. In all honesty, Kickstarter have just shot themselves in the foot because they're not going to make any money out of it. Because they know that people like you, Lady Cat, will go, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've spent nothing, I've got everything, and now I'm going to put them to fix, and I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they'll go bankrupt. They will go bankrupt. It's not possible. So you've got to meet them halfway. And I'm not for or against, but ultimately, 9 years in, we're all still sat here. I've had a break for a while, but ultimately, we're all still sat here, still playing the same game,
and
for
we
the
have
same reasons, really.
Yeah, and we also, by now, people like us that have been playing for years and years have this psychological need to stay on top. We have been on top. We want to stay there. So we're driven by more than our peers, more than by, anything else. It's like we've been on top and we want to stay there. We can't fall behind.
So there's areas of the game you want to stay on top of, and
Right.
if that is relevant on what side of the PvP fence it is, you want to stay ahead, or at least keep your head above the water.
Exactly.
And if you dip just below the waterline, you make a mild investment to bring yourself back. It's like buying new water wings, which is basically what you've done to yourself.
Exactly. Occasionally I'm going to need spark plugs, and occasionally I'll need new tires. And as long as it fits my budget, I'm fine with that.
So you are in that casual coiner area.
Casual coiner area with the budget that I try to stick to, which I do very well at sticking to. I'm very careful. I do try to play cheap. I'm going to do my best to drive as well as I can. Not as good as Hefe, but as good as I can to get the most bang for the buck. So, yeah, I think I consider myself an average player.
But also a shrewd investor.
Well, yeah, that too. I'll invest when I have to, when I feel like I can. Sometimes I've had to and I haven't been able to. So, I'm not out of control with it.
I'm not sure whether I sit in the foolish investor or the reckless investor sometimes, but hey.
You know what? Sometimes you pay for your entertainment, and and you have to enjoy it. You're right.
And that's exactly how I look at it. It's entertainment, and as long as I'm being entertained, I don't mind.
As long as you can still, pay the bills, put food on the table, it's fine. It's when you can't do that and you still spend the money that you really have a problem. But if you've got the money, I don't mind the coiners at all, except that they're the ones that hit my base in the middle of bounty for 3 brand new ships.
And I get that. And if it didn't take all your res and you could just get your dock back fixed for nothing, you wouldn't actually care, to be honest, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So.
Anyway,
Hefe's back.
No, I remember, I didn't really go anywhere. Okay. Yeah. No, I was happy to listen. It's open mic. That's everybody gets a chance to talk about whatever. It's not me droning on for the whole fucking show. Yeah.
That's good to have multiple perspectives. From the casual corner to I don't know that you're a heavy coiner, TSM, but I mean, you'll coin.
TSM's a heavy corner.
Come on. You just want to be polite. If it's there, I want it. That hasn't changed. My approach has changed. Okay, and I have to say that. So I've come back to the game with a completely different approach and different mindset. Yeah. And actually, it's actually transformed what I do and how I do it. I have, I used to have an Instagram where people, look what he's done to my base. I must do this. I really don't care anymore. I just think, am I having fun? And I'll talk to anyone. I don't care what alliance they're with and that sort of stuff. I've talked to all sorts of people from all different alliances, and because it's entertainment,
right?
I've been out hitting somebody, and there's somebody that's commenting on the Kickside forums at the moment. I was hitting his base and that sort of stuff. Then he come back to hit me, and of someone that's in another alliance that I was fighting against. But actually, we've had a couple of good conversations on the and that is entertainment.
It is. I've made a lot of frenemies out there. That's what I call them, frenemies.
Yeah,
because they're nice enemies, and you can enjoy meeting those people as long as they're not whining.
It's no different than a ballpark match or something or other. It's just a bit of competition, hopefully friendly competition, and people get carried away with it, and that's up to them. Some people just get really narky when they've invested some money and maybe a little bit more than they should have done, and it didn't pay off. Then they're going to be angry with themselves, so they may be angry with you because it's easier.
Well, because
but that's denial. That's denial, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of people that are upset with the, especially with the gatekeeper. That was
getting nerfed. That was not.
In all honesty, if it hadn't been, absolutely nothing, and Derpy will probably back this. Absolutely nothing would be getting in the bases now.
I know. I know.
Really
I know that. I agree with you completely on that. But a lot of people that spent money on them are quite upset. But it had to be done. But it's not the player's fault, right?
No, but when you change a complete game, and I do think the PvP adjustment has been done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Ren said the same thing himself. I think they've done an exceptional job. I've never known the company, and I've been here since inception, and so have you, to do something in such a way that actually has probably been the most balanced adjustment that I've ever seen.
And the most problem-free.
But I don't know if that was the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was it shouldn't have been released if there was such a high likelihood.
Ah, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
That it was going to get changed after people dumped money into it. That's more of my issue. It wasn't that. I think they made the right choice, but the people that invested in it are upset associated with it. That's more of my point.
Yeah.
And anytime you nerf something that you either paid for in time, blood, sweat, or tears, we're going to be upset. We want it right to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know if Derpy's there to back me up, but wasn't the PvP adjustment time release put back, but obviously to keep the holes in alignment with their next plan, because obviously the next team's work on this one, the next lot's work on this one, to keep that going. By the sounds of it, it should have been that PvP adjustment should have happened and then the gatekeeper should have come out, but actually it ended up being arse about face.
But didn't they put the gatekeeper back as well?
They delayed the rules of engagement several times, and they also delayed the gatekeeper by like 2 weeks. The gatekeeper performed drastically differently in one hit versus multi-hits, which is why it needed to be nerfed. It was, from my understanding, designed for the rules of engagement one-hit rule.
Yeah, I think so too, because it does perform quite well now. And the previous version, it was very strong, and people were very happy with their purchases, and I understand why. But I don't think it was designed for the previous version of PvP. In mind.
But the people that spent money don't care about that.
No, I absolutely get it. And I'm not defending them. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm just saying I think there was an imbalance. And if they've delayed the PvP because the mechanics was busted and they hadn't finished the math and that sort of stuff, and as you said, the rollout of it has been fairly seamless, and the only casualty en route has been the impact of a percentage of players who financed gatekeepers and hoping they were going to stay the same and not be affected by the adjustments of the PvP rebalance, then I can understand their frustration. But I know the game would have been, the PvP adjustments would not have worked, and I certainly wouldn't in my base. Nobody would have got in. Absolutely nobody would have got in.
Unless PvE players want to mind that.
Again, I'm agreeing with you 100%. All I'm saying is, unless I'm beating a dead horse here, it's not that things shouldn't have been changed with the gatekeeper. And
should have been better done before they released.
When it was released, it should have been closer to reality than what we saw. Before players started to okay, well, I'm all in on the gatekeeper, and that sort of thing shouldn't have happened, because then people get upset.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lesson they never seem to learn, but also it's a very difficult thing to appease everybody, because had the gatekeeper come out, I don't know, what do you do? Do you follow your build plan and that sort of stuff? Because it's different people do different bits, don't they? In the company, we know that.
Get it right at the beginning, I think would be the cry.
But going back to speaking right back to the days when GDR used to come on the show I used to do, that sort of stuff, he openly admitted that there's schedules to keep here and timelines to meet, because the next thing's up and running, and if you miss that, you set the whole thing back 12 months, and it has a massive implication to a company, that unfortunately, there are billboards to run along lines of, almost like weekly series. You can't push back one because that's a knock-on effect to the other, and so long as you can make some mild adjustments to the player base and allow them to, you know, I don't know, the ones that shout the loudest in their tickets maybe get a few extra build tokens and that sort of stuff to make the adjustments to keep them quiet. That's called damage limitation, isn't it? And that's maybe the way they've gone around it. I don't know. I never know. I never put a ticket in because I didn't need to. But the point is, some people that cry hardest, you know, do get appeased, especially if they spend some money, you know, and some people that don't make any noise don't get anything. That's life, isn't it?
Yeah, but it
I'm
was
not saying
hardly
go-
a minor adjustment that they did to it, though, and it's the same with that UAV turret.
Yeah, no, and I get it. And it wasn't a
And
mild
that's-
adjustment. You're right. It was massive. It was
Yeah.
massive. To bring it down to only healing 2 things at once, and to bring it down to a range from what it was down to the 40 odd, you know, that's huge changes, which probably weren't as well communicated as they probably could have been, because it just happened, you know.
But like I said, put a disclaimer on it. Say we've made adjustments to this because it came out, you know, prior to when we wanted it to. It was going to be adjusted, you know. So understand ahead of time that there will be changes made when the ROE happens.
I mean, there's nothing in this game that doesn't get adjusted hardly at all. You know, everything gets, the sliders go up and down. We know that from the day one of, you know, when I do preview streams and Derby does the same, to day 2, then you go, hang on a minute, why was I only getting half an hour damage, or worst case scenario, why was I getting 3 hours damage? And all of a sudden, the little thing pops up, you know, Gilly will say, oh yeah, we've made adjustments, that sort of stuff, it should be better now. You know, at least they're upfront and honest, they're saying it. 5 years ago they weren't. It would keep absolutely stum and say nothing. And
True.
the magic slider, we used to have the magic, you know, graphic equalizer, didn't we, as a meme, you know.
Are you talking about in terms of damage on targets being tuned around?
Yeah.
I think that at least in the last like 4 or 5 years, I think I'm very certain that they don't change things without announcing them.
Now, yes. But they certainly used to. They certainly, I mean, I'm going back probably 5 or 6 years, you're right, but you could literally do, you know, the preview streams or the raid streams, you know, the initial ones, the first hours, as we always did, and still do now, you know. And then all of a sudden the next morning you wake up and go, right, I'll carry on with this. And you go, whoa, there's a huge difference here.
Yeah, we always used to want to do the raids early so that we could do it easier because it was going to get harsher.
Or it was the actually and turned up being the other way around. Yeah, it was a risk, wasn't it? Being an alpha and getting it done within the first, like, you know, 2 hours and blitzing through and that sort of stuff, as people used to, you know, and then take a massive risk. And all of a sudden, if you waited 24 hours, you didn't get the bonus of X sometimes, but also you didn't get the pain of Y, depending if it was a slide to the left or a slide to the right.
Right. I think it's gotten a lot better over the years, for sure.
I think it's okay at the moment. That sounds very flat, but I do think it's okay at the moment. You know, I think this lot are very invested, and it's good to see. I think they're very invested, and just the rollout, like I said, you know, and it's harping on again, but this rollout has been almost seamless. Forget the nerfing of a ship. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking the actual delivery has been absolutely seamless.
It was great.
Nothing's gone wrong.
Nothing like our last.
Broke, you know, I think it was pretty. I'm quite impressed, I have to say.
Yeah, I think they did a good job too.
But anyway.
So now we just need another week of free repair.
Well, we have put that thing back up. And Gilly opened that back up, by the way. The debate on the forum there about the free repairs and can we have it more often? And now you've done it once, it's a really good idea. If people go and support that, it got put back up. It was taken down incorrectly or not correctly or whatever it was, and then it was put back up, and then it was opened up again. So it's on the forum, and I think it's got already 1.4k, you know, likes and that sort of stuff. So it's clearly popular, and I'm hoping they're going to look at something maybe in the future.
I'm really glad that they put something like that up there for discussion. I do wish they would leave their discussion posts up for 24 hours to give everybody a chance. Some people are at work and can't see it, or some people in another country are sleeping and don't see it. I think they should have a chance to reach everybody. So I'm glad it's back up, and I will go check after the show.
Yeah, so this one's just titled "Keep Base Repair Free." Look, they're not going to do it all the time, but at the moment it's sitting at 1.4K. It's got more views than the weekly update notes.
Right.
It tells you enough, doesn't it? More people looked at that than the May CM diary and the update notes.
There you go. That says a lot right there.
That's an impact, isn't it?
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, Happy. Cool.
Okay.
It's your turn to talk.
No, I'm more thinking about it. You guys keep on talking, and which is good. I'm just wondering if there's much more that we have to talk about. That is there takeaways as far as how players are going to get better? And Pillage or whatnot. Does anybody have any tips and tricks, as somebody used to say, as far as how to advance better in the game, or anything else that's because we sort of pounded the what's going on as far as what kicks releases and sort of the minutia of the game. Is there anything else that we should be discussing at this point in time?
I think Pillage is the same as it's been for a while. So if you've done Pillage, you know where you're at, or you know how to get there to where you need to be. Hopefully you know that by now.
I think one thing that's good about the Pillage is, and it may not be for some, but it is for others, the fact that if you struggle in Bounty, because you're not a good base hitter and that sort of stuff, there are 2 holes that you can go and get in this. And if you've got a good set of Praetorians and then you've got a good set of Riots, actually, they're not that expensive for Pillage.
It's great.
I'm actually a big fan of that. I mean, I've been pushing that for a while, especially as it deals with defensive stuff, because I think most players that are quote unquote PvE players, they have their they want to have the ability to defend their base, because their dock's going to be down or whatnot if they don't try to defend their base. So no, I agree with that completely.
It gives you the opportunity, doesn't it? It's ideal where actually you go, do you know what? I'm quite a strong PvE player, but I'm not really good at base hitting, or I don't really have the opportunity to go out, and because Bounty is quite a time in sort of like, it really does draw on you. Whereas Lady Cat has said, she'll go out and she'll wreck her FM fleet. Well, actually, if you wreck your FM fleet, that's 120k. That's both of those brand new ships that only came out last week.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 yards, and you can just have it sitting there building in slow time if you want to. You can get, as we certainly did, you can get free tokens for fixing. If you're good at driving PvE stuff, you can get free free tokens for getting those ranked up VXP wise for nothing. So there are some win-wins there. The Conqueror tokens at 5k a pop that you can do every 6 hours. Well, cheers, easy. No one likes mega ships, but ultimately they certainly like the VXP tokens.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to do those.
Keep them topped up, because you can do a fleet for nothing.
Yeah, I know. I just forget. But thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. So that's the nice thing about Pillage. And it is a catch up, but it's nice that it catches you up in both areas on both sides. So those that are breaking into, and maybe if you're a mid-level player that has just been given a free set of Praetorians, and all of a sudden you go, hang on a minute, what's this ship? Oh, it's a base hitting ship. Well, I've never done any of that before, and you've got the very latest ship, and it is the very latest ship. It's a nice way to break into that. So, and I have seen a level 70 something player using a couple of those. So there are people out there doing it.
Yep. So
good on them.
So no more crying if you're a level 81 player and we hit you, because we know you can do it too.
Yep, it's been seen. Level 70 something has got a couple of those ships.
Yep, awesome.
Anyway, yeah, Pillage done, mate. Sorry, or has he disappeared? Happy. He's wandered off for a top up.
Probably so.
TSM, I got a question for you. If you
Yeah.
didn't have the Hellswarm fleet or a Ballistic Trencher fleet, which one would you build right now?
Neither of them work in isolation at the moment.
That's a fair answer.
And
but
you know
not
I'm
the one I
right.
was hoping.
No, okay, so based on what everybody's having to do in their base, well, put it this way, the Hellspawn fleet has got no hope without support. Unless you're going to hit a base that hasn't been adjusted to try and counter them. So if you're hitting people that really don't care too much about base defense, then 3 Hellswarms, probably 2, built in the UAV way, will get in quite easy. And a badly put together base, even if you just put the standard mortars on them, which are very good, I have to say, you'll trench all over it in no time at all. But someone that knows how to defend a base, you've got freaking no hope. I don't think, personally, at the moment. Maybe the very, very top player, after a few practices, would be really good at it and go, yeah, I'm in, and it only cost me like 5% damage or something like that, But Mr. Average isn't going to do that. Not in a hope in hell. So, yeah. I mean, the fact you can only have 3. So are you going to go for a fleet of 3 trenches or 3 Hellswarms? I know which I go for. Wouldn't be trenches. 5 trenches, though, are still very effective.
That's what I've been seeing.
They are very effective. It's probably if I'm going to do 5 of the same, it's probably the fleet I'd pick over the wars, personally. I like my trenches. And you can add speed up on them and do all sorts of things. So they can take a pounding if you position them right.
For those PvE players that are mostly building just so they can do bounty, what would you recommend? You're not building.
Well, didn't we get given some holes the other day? So if you're going to build the,
What did we get given the other day?
Didn't some players get given 2 subjugators and a couple of other ships and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, 2 howlers, 2 subjugators for the warehouse.
So you could probably go 3. I mean, you're not getting the top bases, of course you aren't. But if you could get 3 Mort chuckers and 2 howlers, that's reasonable. The 2 howlers to mop up what's left over. Because you need something to mop stuff up with. You've got to have something to mop it up. It's not going to work. So a couple of howlers could do that.
3 of the new ships, 3 of the Hellswarms then for bounty.
I mean, there is no way you're going to get the top bases, but you'll get Mr. Average.
We want to get the kickside bases.
Who's this Mr. Average?
I think Lady Cat probably is Mrs. Average.
She's all about the Mr. Average. I'm making a joke here, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
well, you missed TSM. You missed TSM talking about the correct positioning to use for the high level players. I thought that was worthy of something.
I think you're slurring my words into an avenue that I didn't intend to go personally. But hey.
I'm sorry. Derpy's been, All right. It seems
moving on. Nothing to see here.
Yeah. I mean, should we review the? I guess we shouldn't review the Mutineers faction at this point again. But
what was it again? I wasn't paying much attention.
I think
Let me get my glasses.
Forsaken, but there's some there's some dispute about it, whether it's Forsaken or Legion. And there was Brian went with Reaver and Draconian, and I'm like, Draconian ships are all black. And then, the Reaver ships, I got like flames and orange and whatnot. It's,
Right, so I want it to be Forsaken, but I want a Reaver skin. Because that will really muck with people's heads.
I think it's an escapee from Vega. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
they decided to reuse some artwork and bring a Vega ship into Battle Pirates. Because it's certainly not seaworthy.
It looks like a dodgy Apollo. You're right. Someone said that earlier as well. Apollo with a bit of a hot kit on it. Yeah.
It's so I guess at this point in time, unless anybody has any more topics that I think we should bring up, we should probably go on for an hour and a half.
That's long enough.
Yeah. If anybody has any additional topics they want to bring up as far as what's going on in the game or whatnot, We can entertain those for a couple minutes. But otherwise, I'm going to put the link in case anybody would like to join the after show. And otherwise, we're done until Wednesday when we will be previewing the Mutineer. How many weapon slots it has, how many Freedom Fists are you really going to have? It's these things will happen in the future, but at this point in time, I'm not sure that we have much else to talk about.
Other than save your tokens from the Forsaken mission.
Yeah, we've been telling them that for weeks. I mean, if they haven't listened by now, they're not going to listen in the future. So, all right. The link's on the right-hand side, and I think we're going to proceed to the after show where we're going to discuss all sorts of things you guys don't want to know about. So you all have a pleasant evening, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.
Good night, all.
See ya.
Good
Later.
night.
Good night.